Freddy vs. Jason tells the story of how Freddy Krueger enlisted Jason Voorhees to kill on his behalf in Springwood after realizing that he can't haunt dreams anymore because people no longer fear him. Things get sinister between the two monsters when Jason overstays his welcome in Springwood, leading to a showdown between the two. So this film was directed by Ronnie Yu and it stars Robert Englund, Ken Kersinger, Kelly Rowland, Catherine Isabel, and Monica Keena. So strangely enough, Freddy vs. Jason actually used to be my least favourite film in the entire Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. So when it came around to the time to rewatch this film for this review series, I wasn't looking forward to it at all because I just remembered really not liking it. I don't know what was wrong with me the first time I watched this film because, while it's not particularly good, it is an absolute blast. And starting off with the goods, Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. This is more than likely going to be the last time we ever see him don Freddy's makeup. And if it is the last time, we got a great Freddy to go out on. He has so many good lines. He's a perfect mix of funny and creepy. I think his makeup looks pretty good. He's maintained that same evilness and darkness that was in the first couple of films without ever leaning into the complete stupidity of Freddy's Dead and Dream Child. He's terrific in this film. He steals the scene in every single scene that he's in, and he's in most scenes of the movie, so bravo, Robert Englund. I also really like Ken Kersinger here as Jason, and now while I definitely wouldn't say that he's anywhere near one of the best Jasons, like Kane Hodder and Derek Mears and Ted White are a league above him, he's still a really effective Jason. He is hulking, he's tall, he's intimidating, he's got a real threatening presence about him. He does a good job as Jason. Freddy vs. Jason capitalizes on one of the most important parts of any slasher film. Carnage candy. I could use those two words to describe this film and it would be spot on. That could just be a 2-word review. Carnage candy. There is a gory death every other scene in this film. It is bloody, it is ridiculous. There's so many great kills and sequences, like the rave scene is awesome, like when the body's just thrown from the cornfield straight into the middle of the rave and it just turns into mayhem with fire going everywhere and the guys getting their necks snapped. It's an awesome scene. You've got the guy getting completely chopped in half in the hallway when Freddy's possessing him. He's like, just,
let me handle this, bitch.
as silly as it is, I love the decapitation scene when he goes and sits down next to his dad and he bumps into him and his head pops off. But by far the best kill in this film is the bed kill. The first one that happens in this movie when Jason comes in, that guy's on his stomach on his bed and Jason just starts stabbing him over and over and over again. And he grabs each end of the bed and folds it up and turns him into like a human sandwich. It is such a great kill. And continuing on with the carnage candy, the titular scenes with Freddy and Jason fighting each other and just belting the living shit out of each other is so much fun to watch. It's so stupid, it's so silly, it's so campy, it's so over the top, it's ridiculous. It is bloody goodness, and I love those scenes. The final fight is so much fun. Like, you've got Freddy ends up drowning Jason, but then he comes out with Jason's machete, but he's missing an arm, and he's walking up to Laurie with Jason's machete, and then Jason all of a sudden jumps out of the water with Freddy's severed arm with his razor glove on, and he stabs Freddy with his own severed hand with the gloves. It's just ridiculous. It's so much fun. It's so stupid. This film delivers on the carnage candy, and I could watch it all day and never get tired of it. It is so much fun. The concept, the reason that Freddy and Jason end up squaring off is hilarious to me. I mean, the fact that Freddy gets Jason to kill on his behalf because Freddy doesn't have the power to scare people and kill them in their dreams anymore. But then Jason starts hogging too many kills and Freddy wants his turn at being able to kill these kids. It's ridiculous. And then it's like two little brothers that are, one of them's hogging the Xbox. It's stupid. It knows it. I think it's really funny. As I've already hinted at, this film is paced extremely well too. Like, it seems to be every second scene is a really gory death scene or a Freddy versus Jason scene. So while there is a lot of boring character slop spliced in, you're never going to be bored watching the film because it's always paced well enough to the point that you're going to get some carnage, a little bit of character shit, more carnage, a little bit of character shit, way more carnage. It's paced well. It knows what the focus of the film is. I also think Demon Freddy, or whatever his official name is, I think he looks really, really cool. I mean, I like the way Freddy looks in this film in general, but that is maybe the best Freddy's looked since part 3, part 2. Like, he's really, really menacing and creepy as Demon Freddy. Just how red and burnt and just bloody he is. He's just disgusting. It's awesome. And finally, I just love how unapologetically schlocky this film is. It takes place, it's a 2000s film through and through. It isn't trying to be anything more than what it is. It's Freddy versus Jason. They're two horror icons squaring off, killing a lot of people and trying to kill each other. That's all it is. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It's not trying to be anything more than that, and for that reason, I love it. And as much as I do really enjoy this film, it's not very good. Like, looking at it critically, the acting from just about everyone in the main cast that isn't Ken Kersinger or Robert Englund is pretty atrocious. You've got some horrible line deliveries, and you've got one guy in particular who is the first guy to go, thank God. But he is just so ridiculous. He doesn't seem like a real person whatsoever, and he just, every single thing that he says takes me out of the movie. And as much as I enjoy how silly the concept of this film is, the entire first act of this film is basically just narrated by Freddy. Freddy is basically just speaking straight to the audience about what is going on, what his plan is, why he can't scare people anymore. It's just really lazy storytelling. Like, there's literally one part where Freddy is staring down the barrel of the camera and he's going,
"Not quite strong enough yet. My time will come. In the meantime, I'd better let Jason have some fun."
and I'm just like, you couldn't have found a more creative way to show that Freddy doesn't have power anymore. Like, you just had to have Robert Englund look into the camera and tell you. That is lazy. That's poor. There is hardly a single bit of logic in this film, and I know it's not supposed to be taken all that seriously, but just stuff like Jason being terrified of water is so fucking stupid to me. I know he drowned, but there's so many other times in the previous films where he would be in water and nothing would happen. But in this film, he turns back into a little child whenever he comes into contact with the water. It's dumb. It just feels really lazy and stupid. And other problems with the script, like, for example, it's just such a passable slasher script at best, because it's like, you gotta bring Jason back to Camp Crystal Lake, his resting place, so he can get full power and take Freddy out once and for all. It just feels so been there, done that, nothing new whatsoever. And then even just beyond that, just smaller things like, what the fuck is that Freddy worm that stoner kid sees when he falls asleep? What is that? It looks horrible. What is going on? Why is that there? And then other things like the anti-dream tablets and stuff like that. Like, apparently it's an experimental tablet, but oh no, it's apparently supposed to stop dreams entirely, and that's made an entire generation not know who Freddy Krueger is. Like, it's all slapdash, it's all nonsense, it's all secondary, obviously, because the main attraction is Freddy and Jason killing each other, but like, it's just, when you're watching it and it's not a gory death scene, or it's not Freddy and Jason fighting, you're just left just scratching your head, just going, what the fuck? Now, this movie was released in 2003, so it's obvious the CGI is going to suck, and they use it way too much. There are parts when, like, Pamela Voorhees morphs into Freddy that looks like shit. There's a part where Freddy comes out of a magazine and flicks up Kelly Rowland's nose and rips her nose off. It's a funny line when he says, "Got your nose," but like, the way the nose looks when it's being ripped off looks horrible. Again, with that Freddy worm, whatever is going on there, it looks like a Langolier. Like, as bad as the Langoliers, it doesn't look like the Langoliers, but it looks fucking horrible, is what I'm saying. It's just, you're watching this film and you're like, oh god, stick to practical, please. And lastly, the worst part about this film, the thing that pisses me off so much, The editing. Whoever thought those frame rate chops were a good idea needs to be punished for their crimes. It is nauseating to watch at points when you're just watching it and then all of a sudden, for no reason whatsoever, the footage just drops frames randomly. The sound doesn't drop or anything like that. The footage just starts going all stop, start, and jerky. It's unbearable to look at. So overall, with terrible performances, a real first draft level script, plus some dated CGI and editing, Freddy vs. Jason isn't a particularly good film. That being said, it does deliver on what it promises, and that is being a gory, good, fun, stupid, silly time. I honestly really like it for what it is. So Freddy vs. Jason is worth a watch. Thanks very much for watching my review on Freddy vs. Jason. Let me know what you thought of this film in the comments, and look forward to my review of the Nightmare on Elm Street remake coming very shortly. I'll see you all later. Bye.